let's look at the topic on fuels that we use at home. This topic has been divided into 7 parts, and the first part is on types and uses of fuel. Boys and girls, these are the questions you should be able to answer by the end of this topic. 1. What type of fuels do we use at home? 2. What are the uses of the various types of fuels? 3. How do we use and conserve fuel at home? 4. How can we safely use various fuels at home? And lastly, what challenges do we face when using different types of fuels? You notice some words are bold and bigger. These are the things you should be able to learn by the end of this topic. Let's first understand the meaning of the term fuel. Fuel is any source of heat energy used in the home for different purposes. We have different types of fuels and we use them for different purposes. The different types of fuels we use at home are electricity, charcoal, wood, gas, and paraffin, also known as kerosene. At the top, you can see a blue flame. That is a gas burner. Below it is an electric oven, and below that is a charcoal jiko. At the top right corner is a fireplace with wood, and below that is a kerosene stove. Which among these fuels do you use at your home? We use fuel to cook food. Cooking makes raw food edible. We can also use fuel to give light in the dark. When you need to read and finish your homework, what type of light do you use? Write the answer in your notebook. Fuel is also used to give warmth when the weather is cold. For example, you can light a fireplace and share stories with your friends and family while keeping warm. In this lesson, we'll look at how to use firewood. And before we even use the firewood, we need to know how to light a fire. So how do we light a fire? First, remove excess ashes in the fireplace. Second, put dry twigs, leaves, or dry papers in the fireplace. Third, put slightly larger twigs over them. Fourth, strike a match and light the papers. And fifth, as the fire is building up, place larger pieces of dry split wood and ensure there is sufficient circulation of air. If you look at this video, this person is arranging the twigs in such a way that there is enough space for the air to circulate and for the fire to burn comfortably. Try and light a fire, but make sure you have someone near you, a parent or guardian, to watch over you that you don't burn yourself or get hurt. But practice this at home or with a group of friends. Next, let's look at the safety measures to observe when using firewood. What are safety measures? These are things you do to protect yourself or to prevent yourself from getting hurt by the fire. First, light a fire in an open space. Second, avoid being too close to the fire. And third, your clothes should not hang over the fire. If you look at this picture, this lady is standing too close to the fire and her clothes are also hanging too close to the fire. So what could happen? Her clothes could catch fire and she could get burned. Make sure you observe these safety measures to avoid such a thing happening to you. What are the challenges of using firewood? Firewood produces a lot of smoke and can affect your health. It actually makes you cough, choke, sneeze, and even tear up. Split or chopped wood can use up a lot of space during storage. So you need a lot of storage space if you want to keep enough chopped wood. Third, gathering firewood or chopping wood takes time and energy. And fourth, using wet wood to light a fire can be very frustrating and time consuming. So how do you conserve firewood? Let's understand the meaning of the word conserve. To conserve is to use sparingly or to use in moderation. To conserve firewood, first, put out burning wood when not in use. You can do that by sprinkling water over it or pouring sand over the firewood. Second, use energy-saving fireplace jikos or burners. And third, use firewood sparingly to conserve trees and the environment. The lesser the firewood you use, the lesser the trees that are cut, and the more you conserve the environment. In this third part of our lesson, we are going to look at how to use charcoal. Let's look at how to light a charcoal burner. 1. Remove ashes from the charcoal burner. Place dry papers and twigs into the charcoal burner. Place charcoal over the dry papers and twigs, and the charcoal should be in small pieces at this point. Open the lower part of the charcoal to let in air, and this depends on the type of charcoal that you're lighting. Light the papers with a matchstick and then allow charcoal to burn until it's red hot to avoid buildup of carbon monoxide. We'll see later what carbon monoxide is and why we need to avoid it. What are some of the safety measures you observe? First, light a charcoal in an open, well-ventilated space to avoid suffocation. Secondly, avoid touching hot metallic parts of the charcoal. If you must carry it indoors, you wear kitchen gloves or you hold it with something that protects your hands from the hot metallic parts. Now, the challenges you encounter or you face when you're using charcoal are: charcoal produces carbon monoxide that can suffocate you and lead to death. What is carbon monoxide? This is a toxic gas that is produced by burning charcoal, especially when the charcoal has not burnt out completely. You should therefore avoid lighting a charcoal indoors and make sure it is lit outdoors until it is red hot. It is also not affordable in most homes. Trees are discouraged from being cut, and therefore the charcoal that we get is rare or scarce and expensive. Third, it can take longer to light a charcoal if one is not skilled. However, there are quicker ways of lighting a charcoal. For example, you can use kerosene to quicken the process of lighting a charcoal. How do you conserve charcoal? First, use an energy-saving charcoal burner or a charcoal conserving charcoal like this charcoal core that is pictured here. Put out charcoal when you're not using it by sprinkling water over it. And thirdly, use charcoal sparingly to conserve trees and the environment. Obviously, if you use an energy-saving burner like this charcoal core that is here, you'll use less charcoal, and by so doing, you'll conserve the trees and the environment. In this fourth part of our lesson, we are going to look at how to use electricity. Electricity is used for many different purposes around the house. For example, it's used for cooking, for ironing clothes, like this person is ironing a t-shirt using an electric iron. It can also be used for charging mobile phones, for charging computers and laptops, for powering televisions and radios, and so on. To use electricity, all you need to do is to turn the switch on, and when you're not using it, to turn the switch off. What are some of the safety measures to observe? First, avoid touching naked electric wires and switches with bare or wet hands. Also, obey electric warnings. If a warning says, "Do not touch with wet hands," make sure to obey it. Third, never put fingers or objects into an electric socket. Many people try to plug their mobile chargers into a socket using a pen, as you can see here. That is wrong. What are some of the challenges you can encounter when you're using electricity? Now, electricity can go off when you're in the middle of doing something. For example, you could be doing your homework or reading a storybook, and the electricity goes off without warning. That's a challenge. Second, electricity is very expensive and most people cannot afford it. Third, electricity can cause shock, electrocution, and even death. So you need to observe safety when you're using it. How do you conserve electricity? First, switch off all electric equipment and lighting bulbs when you're not using it. Secondly, use energy saving bulbs and avoid turning on lights during the day. Those are the things you need to do to conserve electricity. In this fifth part of our lesson, we are going to look at how to use kerosene. Kerosene can be used in a lamp or in a stove. When lighting a lamp, put enough kerosene and don't fill the tank to the brim. Tighten the cap and light the lamp using a matchstick. What you're seeing in this picture is a kerosene lamp. When using a stove, put enough kerosene in the tank, correctly reassemble the parts, and then strike a match to light the stove. Some of the safety measures to observe when you're using kerosene is avoid spilling kerosene as it can catch fire easily. Secondly, do not carry a lit stove. Only light a stove in the exact location where you intend to use it. Third, allow the stove or lamp to cool before refilling it. And lastly, store kerosene in well-labeled containers. If you look at this picture, the kerosene is being pumped in a bottle that is not correctly labeled. The label should read kerosene. Some of the challenges of using kerosene are it smells bad, and in most cases the smell tends to rest on surfaces around the house. Second, it's expensive. Third, it pollutes the air. When it burns, it produces fumes that pollute the air. Fourth, it catches fire easily and can cause severe accidents. And lastly, it's poisonous when swallowed. This is why it's important to label containers where kerosene is stored. How do you conserve kerosene? First, kerosene lamps and stoves should be put off when they are not in use. And secondly, make sure you regulate the flame to control the amount of kerosene that the stove or the lamp uses. We continue with our topic on fuels used at home, and in this sixth part, we are going to look at how to use gas. When using a gas cooker, the pipe connecting the cylinder to the cooker should be tightly plugged, as you can see in the picture. The cylinder should be placed at a safe distance from the cooker. Light the cooker with its lighter or a matchbox and ensure there is no leakage from the gas cylinder. Now, it's important to observe safety when you're using gas. As you can see in this video, the firefighters are fighting a severe fire in a residential area that could well have been caused by a gas explosion. So what are some of the safety measures to observe when using gas? 1. Always put off the gas after use. Second, check piping and gas burners for possible leakage. If you smell leaking gas, do not switch on the lights and do not light any match or use anything that produces fire. Open the doors and windows to allow the gas to escape and to reduce the chances of the gas exploding in the event that you turn on any light or light any fire. What are the challenges of using gas? Gas is very expensive to refill and it's quite unaffordable to a large number of people. It can also cause explosions and severe fires when not used properly. How do you conserve gas? Make sure you turn off the gas when not in use, or you regulate the flame so that you cook your food at low flame. As we wind up on this topic on fuels at home, we'll look at the seventh part, which is on importance of conserving fuel. When you conserve fuel, you save money. The less fuel you use within a given period of time, the less the money you spend. Conserving charcoal and firewood saves trees and the environment. Charcoal and firewood, when used in less amounts, will resort to cutting less trees and therefore you save the environment. Third, conserving kerosene and gas reduces pollution of the air. What happens to the environment when we cut trees for wood and charcoal? There are several things that happen. Birds and animals have no home and shelter to go to, which is really sad. There is no more rain or the amount of rain reduces. Trees tend to attract rain, and when we cut them down, we reduce the amount of rain. Crops tend to dry up and there is famine. And when there is famine, people starve and die of hunger. Also, the sun gets too hot and we have no shade, and that can make us sick. Let's look at this video and see what cutting down trees has done to the environment. What do you see in this video? Does it look good? This is why we should stop cutting trees as it destroys our environment. What happens to the environment when we are drilling gas from the ground? The gas can leak into the ocean where the pipes are connected, and this can kill sea animals. Secondly, there is destruction of the land where people live. And thirdly, the air is polluted during the production of gas. And lastly, homes for animals and birds are destroyed. Have a look at what gas pollution does to the air. People living within this factory or this place where the gas is drilled can suffer from many breathing problems because of the pollution in the air. Let's have a look at some of the group work that we can do when you're at home or in school. With a group of 3, practice how to safely use any of the following types of fuel that are available to you. You can use kerosene, gas, electricity, charcoal, or firewood. Make sure you have a guardian or a parent near you to avoid any possible accidents that may occur. They will guide you on what to do when practicing how to use these types of fuel. You also need to do the following assignments. 1. Go to the internet and look for information on the importance of conserving fuel in the home. Write down as much information as you can in your notebook. Secondly, discuss what you have found with 2 of your friends. Hear what they have to say about the importance of conserving fuel in the home. And lastly, write down 5 reasons why fuels used at home should be conserved. This marks the end of our lesson. I hope to see you in the next class.